Yes, guys, welcome. We're back with Gazetta Dello Five. Myself, Joel Beya. You got Stephen Howson over there. I know he's got loads of questions for Romano. And of course, Rio Ferdinand. And yes, Fabrizio Romano, our guest on the show. Great episode last week. You okay?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me. It's a big pleasure to be part of the show, and it was amazing last time. So ready to do it again.
We had some great feedback, by the way, from the comments in the on the video. Everywhere I've been, everyone's been saying, "Oh, you got Fabrizio on the channel, crazy!" So really
Thank
good.
You.
Great
it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, guys. Really, thank you.
Fabrizio, we're gonna get you a shirt that has a number 5 on it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go.
Okay, so main topics that we're going to look at today. There's 3 that are the most interesting. Now, we've got Salah. If he doesn't sign for Liverpool, we want to know what's going to happen over there. And of course, we've got the DM situation at Manchester United. Could there be a possible replacement? What can they do to improve? And of course, finally, Mbappe at PSG. There's a lot of noise going on over there. So those are the topics we're going to be discussing. We start off with Liverpool. Steve, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, obviously, we had a brilliant game between Manchester City and Liverpool this weekend. Probably, as much as this makes me want to throw up in my mouth saying it, probably the pinnacle of the Premier League, I think, is those 2 teams at the moment. I think they're probably a touch above everybody else that are in there. But Mo Salah in particular was electric. He looked, like Rio said yesterday, he looks like he might be the best player in the Premier League at the moment. I don't know if anyone can convince me it's somebody else. I think he's in the mix for sure, but I don't think anyone can come in and say that there's anybody that's levels above him. I don't think there's a player out there doing it. There's some talk that he don't want to sign a new contract with Liverpool. What possible destinations could there be for Mo Salah if that's the case?
I can tell you that from what I'm told, Paris Saint-Germain were looking at this possibility earlier this summer. It was like June. If they had the chance of selling Mbappe to Real Madrid, they were prepared to do something big and they wanted to try for Mo Salah, but then they decided to keep Kylian Mbappe. So it was not even a negotiation. Also because from Liverpool, they had no intention to open any talk to sell Mo Salah. So it was not even a topic. It was just an idea for Paris Saint-Germain, but was never a negotiation just because of Liverpool position, but also of PSG position on Kylian Mbappe. But keep an eye on Mo Salah contract situation, I would say, because now they are negotiating, Liverpool and Mo Salah. He's 29, so he needs to decide about his personal life. No, it's not just about contract and money, but it's the final big contract for him, and so it's important to make the right choice. But he's still negotiating with Liverpool. From what I'm told, he loves Liverpool. He loves Liverpool as football club, the fans, the city, everything. So he's really happy at Liverpool. But new contract is not agreed yet. So I would keep an eye on many clubs if some player will move in the summer, like, as we mentioned, Kylian Mbappe and this kind of players, they will try again. But in this period, starting from now till next summer, for sure, Liverpool priority will be to extend Mo Salah contract.
What type of levels are we going to be talking about for someone like Mo Salah at Liverpool? Are they going to? They obviously have to break the record at the club at the moment, but like breaking the record at Liverpool probably doesn't even put him anywhere near what the likes of Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, Cristiano earn at other clubs.
They can't go at this level. They can't go at this level. They are not going to pay at this level. Imagine that Neymar, for example, is around 35 million euro net per season from Paris Saint-Germain. That is really huge and is impossible for Liverpool to arrive at this level. They will try to start to do something big, but not at this level. This is the point. This is why Mo Salah wants to decide for his final contract to see what kind of possibilities he has. But really, it's important to say that he loves the club, so he's talking with Liverpool. He's not creating any problem or going to have a war with Liverpool. He wants to talk with them and then decide. But many clubs will be prepared to try in a serious way for Mo Salah. I will keep an eye also on Spanish clubs because you remember sometimes, I think it was some months ago, he was speaking about his dream of playing maybe one day in Spain, maybe Real Madrid. I remember he was speaking with Marca maybe about Real Madrid. And, it could be also a possibility if they want to sign this kind of player. As of now, there are not negotiations on this point, but keep an eye on these potential solutions. If he doesn't sign with Liverpool, that is still his priority.
But Romano, we're talking about Spanish teams. do they even have the money at the moment? You know, for me, that's the question. I feel like the money that's being kept by Real Madrid is solely for Mbappe, but we're going to get onto that later on. Do they have the money to bring in a Salah or maybe a Sterling? You know, what's going on over there?
Real Madrid have the money. Real Madrid have the money.
Thank you, Fabrizio. I said this yesterday to Joel. He was arguing with me. I said they will have the money, these guys.
Yes. I agree with you, Rio. They have the money because they only signed David Alaba as free agent and Camavinga. Yes, of course, but Camavinga was an opportunity. They only signed David Alaba, and then last signing was Mendy, close to 3 years ago. So they're not spending a lot of money. They have the opportunity of saving some salary next summer because they have many contracts expiring, like Gareth, Bale, and these kind of things that will help the club on salary point of view. And they will have the opportunity of selling some players as they did with Odegaard this summer, and they will continue with some young players they don't trust. They will sell them next summer. And so they have money to do this kind of business. I don't know for Barcelona, because now Barcelona is in a critical, terrible financial situation. So let's see what happens next summer. But as of now, it's difficult for Barcelona to think for this kind of players. But I think Real Madrid have money to sign stars like, I don't know, Mbappe, Haaland, Mo Salah. If they want to sign one or two of these players, maybe they have the chance, yes.
Wow. We were discussing. I know we're going a bit off topic here, but we were discussing Raheem Sterling's situation at Man City yesterday, and Grealish being £100 million player coming in and in his position, and Sterling's not getting a lot of opportunities. And I said, listen, I think in the summer next year, if the situation stays the same, I can see big clubs around Europe coming for him, being one of the two, maybe one or two of the Spanish teams, etc. Do you think that would be a possibility as well?
I agree with you. If the situation continues like this, I also expect Sterling to leave. Also because, then everything was collapsing in the final days of the window for Man City when they were trying for Kane and then for Cristiano. But when they were needing to sell one player to sign Cristiano Ronaldo, because they wanted to sign Cristiano only in case they sold one of their players like Bernardo, then they were trying also with Raheem Sterling, to sell Raheem Sterling to some Spanish club. And Raheem Sterling knows about it. They were looking for options for him in Spanish market, and it was impossible because Real Madrid were not interested in this kind of players in this moment. And Barcelona have no money to do this kind of deal. But I also expect Raheem Sterling to consider some other possibilities next summer if the situation will continue like this.
Abroad, though, right? Abroad, yes. Right? Because that wouldn't be, I don't see it in the Premier League, obviously not Italy. I didn't even think in Spain, to be honest with you, but here we go, right?
Yes, I would say Spain, maybe France, Germany. Let's see what happens. Of course, now it's nothing advanced or negotiation. But I also expect Sterling to look for opportunities if the situation continues like this. I agree with Rio, and also his contract situation is not easy because they're talking about it with Man City since months and months, but it's not agreed yet. So they need to take a decision with Pep Guardiola on Sterling, and I think in some months they will decide together with the player if extending the contract or leave next summer.
We spoke a little bit last week on it, and I think the situation's become a little bit more desperate now at Manchester United. We look at the imbalance that there is in the Manchester United side. The number 6 is something that United have been crying out for. Is there any talk of United moving for someone in January? Is that a possibility, or do you think they're lining up someone big for next season?
I think will not be easy in January, to be honest, because after spending a lot of money for Varane, Sancho, and Cristiano, they're not selling any player because they had some chances with Lingard, they had some chances with Martial, they had some chances with Donny van de Beek, Diogo Dalot, and they decided to keep all these players. I think in January, only if they will be able to sell some players will be possible to do something like this, because they want to sign an important player in this position, not just a midfielder, just to sign one player and then in June you have to restart searching for a player. They want to sign an important one in this position. They know that it's the next priority. So if it's January or summer, they want to sign a big one, and signing a big one in January will be complicated. We mentioned Declan Rice last time, and I can tell you that he's in the list of Man United since a long time. But it's not easy in January to sign this kind of player. It's not easy in summer. Imagine in January with West Ham prepared to fight to keep the player at the club. So it will be really complicated. As I mentioned, Declan Rice could be one of the names. I'll keep an eye also on opportunities because, for example, I live here in Italy, and in Serie A we have some opportunities with Marcelo Brozovic, Frank Kessie not extending the contract with Inter, with AC Milan, and they're doing great, both players, one for Inter, the other for AC Milan. And so let's see what happens with their contracts. Both clubs are still negotiating with them to extend the deals, But if they will not be able to extend, keep an eye on opportunities, I would say. Man United had in their list also Saul and Camavinga during the summer and Ruben Neves of Wolverhampton as potential opportunities. But as of now, nothing is advanced because they want a big name and they want to be 100% sure they're going to sign a player for present and future and the key player for Man United project.
Interesting. I like the fact you mentioned Brozovic. Brozovic is one that I've been looking at lately, thinking, is he the sort of guy that could fit the sort of makeup of player, and Kessie as well? These are two players that I think could solve a bit of an issue with United. You mentioned a lot of players that we didn't manage to get rid of. Do you think there'd be some of those finding themselves on the way out in January? The likes of Tony Marshall or Van der Beek or possibly Jesse Lingard?
I think Van der Beek's situation is incredible. It's just my personal opinion, but I feel that the situation is incredible. They spent a lot of money on Van der Beek. He was never playing last season. I'm told, I don't know, Rio, you know more than me, but I'm told that he's a fantastic professional, a fantastic guy, so serious, so always correct with the manager, with the team, with the teammates. And then in the summer, he said, I want to play. I want to play. I want to play football. It's 1 year I'm not playing football. He had an agreement with Everton. It was done. And then on deadline day, collapsed it because Man United told him, we want to trust you. We want you to stay here. We want you to play. And he's never playing. So it's a disappointing situation, and I'm sure if we'll continue like this, Donny will leave Manchester United in January. I'm sure.
I think if the big thing with Donny van der Beek, and he's a great guy, we've had him on the show before, and I think he's a really calm, relaxed guy. I think this is a funny situation because I think if he was a bad guy and he was volatile and he was loud, he would be gone. He wouldn't have been at Man United.
Yes.
And sometimes when you're too nice, maybe, or you're nice about a situation and you're polite, you might not get the situation that you really require for yourself. And I think that's probably the problem for someone like Donny van der Beek.
I agree with you. But I'm sure that this situation will change in one sense or the other. Or he has to play with Man United or he will leave in January. They're already looking for solutions. Spanish, Italian clubs looking for him. Let's see if in Premier League someone will try again after Everton. But I'm sure that Van der Beek will leave if the situation will continue like this.
It's crazy because when I saw him the other day. I spoke to him and it was... I said to him, regardless of what happens, man, just work hard. And I think he said that on the show as well. I'll always work hard. You'll never see me slacking in training. And I said to him, like, these experiences are what build people. They build you as a human being, but they build you as a player, the character, the personality. And I think in time, you might look back and think, you know what, that made me stronger. He will never see it now, but you look back and go, you know what, that helped make me get stronger. And that was you can use this to fuel him and push him on in his next phase of his career when it comes.
And I'm sure he will do great because I love this player. I was at the stadium when they were playing in Champions League Juventus-Ajax match, and I still remember the feeling I had with Donny van der Beek was in this Champions League campaign. He was unbelievable, and he's still a great player. So I hope he will have the chance to show his skills.
Last question on the Donny van der Beek situation: was he brought in as a potential Pogba replacement? Do you reckon, Fabrizio? Because it looked like, last year, Pogba wasn't sure whether he was going to stay or not. He was, he said whilst he was abroad, something, I don't know where he was at, but he said he would have to reconsider or something, Manchester United, etc. Do you think they'd brought in Donny just in case, but then Pogba ended up wanting to stay and then you're kind of stuck with the two players?
No, what I'm told, no. They wanted Donny, a part of what was going to happen with Pogba. They wanted Van der Beek. They really wanted him. They were perfect also with the strategy, spending money at the right moment with many clubs interested. Barcelona were in the race too, and they were perfect with the strategy. So they wanted Donny. It was not related to Pogba's situation. So I think also now is not directly linked with Pogba's future. Also, if Pogba is not decided yet about his contract, but I also see Van der Beek future not linked to Paul Pogba.
Okay, cool.
In the summer, we saw one of the craziest windows I think we've ever seen. The only thing that could have took it even further would have been if Mbappe would have swapped Paris Saint-Germain for the Bernabeu last minute. Now, that didn't happen, but it's come out today in the press that Mbappe has confirmed that he did ask to leave Paris Saint-Germain for Real Madrid, but he says that he didn't try and quit just in the last window, and he says that they tried to make me sound like a thief. Is this the sort of thing that we look like this is a transfer now that is being built up to happen next summer? Or do you think that he's going to extend his stay at PSG? Because that looks unlikely at this point, doesn't it?
I think if Mbappe wanted to stay at Paris Saint-Germain, he was not going to do this kind of interview. This is my point. The summer is gone now. He could say maybe I want to stay or not speaking or not doing the interview. Saying this means that you still want to go. This is my feeling. And what I'm told is that in August, also in July and in August, in the dressing room of Paris Saint-Germain, Kylian Mbappe was telling his teammates, I want to go. My dream is to play one day for Real Madrid. So they knew about it in the board, in the dressing room, his teammates. Everyone knows that Kylian Mbappe dreams of playing for Real Madrid one day. Let's see now what is going to happen, because you know that Paris Saint-Germain, on financial point of view, they are the strongest in the world, and so they can maybe propose him something crazy and change his mind. But his desire is to play for Real Madrid one day. So my feeling is, if they had a great chance of signing Mbappe also months ago, working on it since long time with Florentino Perez, in love with the player, obsessed with the player, after making official bid for 170, 80, with add-ons included, millions euro for a player who is out of contract in 6 months, they were showing to the player, we only want you. We want you to be the new face of Real Madrid. And so now they have Kylian Mbappe completely convinced of joining Real Madrid in the future. I don't know if it will be next summer. I think he has serious chances, big chances to join Real Madrid next summer. Is not signed yet. So let's see. As I said, Paris Saint-Germain are able to change any situation with their big proposals. But as of now, I think Real Madrid has big chances to sign Kylian
Mbappe. Surely, though, if they're going to sign him and he's the face and they've made it clear, then they're not going to go for Mo Salah then, are they? Which means that I was right, Rio.
Yes. They can sign, I don't know, to 2 or 3 players. Then.
They could go for Salah because Mbappe's a free.
And so Salah.
Mbappe is free. Yes, free. We have to read also about commissions and salary. We have many things around this free. But yes, he's a free. They can go with Salah, maybe if they sell some other player. Let's see what they will decide. They have to decide, for example, on Eden Hazard. We never speak about it in European football because now it seems normal. But Eden Hazard is never playing at top level with Real Madrid. So they need to decide on him. As we said, we have Gareth Bale prepared to leave at the end of his contract. They need to decide also on Isco. They have many players. They will start the new era, I think, next year at Real Madrid. This is the feeling around the club.
Gareth Bale's an interesting one, isn't it? What the hell is going to happen with Gareth Bale when his contract expires at Real Madrid? Where do you see him going?
Good question. At the moment, I really don't know. He had many opportunities. Someone was speaking of retiring. You remember last summer, someone said,
I think he'll retire.
Yes. I don't know what he will decide to do, but
that's really one crazy. For a future episode. Don't worry, there'll be plenty more of these.
Oh, yeah. He's 32.
I just don't see where he got, unless he just says, he has to sacrifice, obviously, a lot. His wages will come down massively. And then it's about appetite. I don't doubt his appetite, but I think that's going to be the question in terms of, will he play for a considerable amount of less money? And then it's about who's got the actual finances to pay. It's still going to be a big number. And do they believe in him having the ability to come and change the fortunes of that club? Now, Spurs tried it. It didn't really work out. Didn't materialise. Who's next going to be on that list? And obviously, if it's going to be someone below Spurs in terms of the stature of the club, will Gareth Bale be willing to take that drop from Real Madrid up here? So there's a lot of questions that are going to have to be answered with that type of transfer.
I will keep an eye on MLS clubs because they wanted him. Some MLS club wanted him also a few months ago, and maybe it could be an opportunity for him to fix this situation and to try something new.
He has played for Real Madrid this season as well. He's also scored. So,
yes.
I guess it's not like he's completely out in the wilderness at Real Madrid. It's not like he's just not playing, not getting any minutes whatsoever. Because if you weren't getting any minutes, I think it makes sense you could look anywhere in the Premier League. But yeah, I think Fabrizio might be onto something there with the MLS because they're probably still willing to offer a bit of a salary, and it's out of the spotlight, and it's probably quite easy, I imagine, for him after coming straight from Real Madrid.
Yes, and as we said, he's still young. Young is 32, okay, not so young, but he's still young and able to play at top level in MLS if he wants. It's about him, I think. He needs to decide for himself because for Gareth Bale, it's always been like this. So let's see what he will decide, but now he's still focusing on Real Madrid, and I think from January he will think about it.
I don't think he's got the hunger, Rio. I know you don't doubt it, but I do, because I don't see how someone who you've played at Real, you've gone to Tottenham, hasn't really worked out. Where's he going to go?
Hang on.
Don't see it.
He scored 11 in 20 for Tottenham last season. You give him a full season, that's getting 20 goals.
No, I don't think
bad return for any forward.
I just don't see him going lower than Spurs. and being happy with lower wages.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, listen, we're coming into international period, man. So we're going to have a time to watch some more games and players playing on the national stage. So look forward to that. Also, guys, do not forget to like, share, comment. Please tell your best friend, tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your nan, tell your granddad. We are here waiting to entertain. So listen, stay tuned. Five, always bringing you great, fresh new content. And we'll see you guys soon, man. Listen, Fabrizio, thank you very much. Always a pleasure having you on.
Thank
and we'll
you.
see you next week.
Thank you. Super pleasure.
Later.